But the cross is there's a contradiction. How come? Well, what is the cross? The cross is an instrument of death. It's like the electric chair. It's like hanging people. It's like you get the gallows and you hang someone. It's like shooting someone, the execution of prisoners by shooting. The cross was another form of execution in the days of the Roman Empire. Not only was it a means of execution, it was the worst means of execution. It was reserved for the worst type of criminal. So bad was it that the person, the crucified victim, may last 4, 5, 6 days dying slowly in great pain, in very great pain, because you can't breathe very well because you're tied up on the cross. And if you've got nails on your feet, you've got to stand up every now and then because you're going to get cramps. So you've got to put pressure on the nails on the foot to raise your body up, and that will burn your feet with pain. And then you can't take that anymore, and you let your foot down, but then you're hanging by the hands. And then the hands burn because all your body's pressure is on the hand and the nail. Your whole body is relying on the hand and the nail, and that is burning your hands. So you can only take so much. Then you could put the pressure back on your feet, and that's going to start burning. And then you go back on your hand, back and forward, the pain on the leg, the pain on the hand, the pain on the side. And it's the worst form of death, because you can't die quickly. With the electric chair, it's all over. You press the button, the person has died. The prisoner has died. In shooting, they shoot you, it's all over. You'll hardly feel anything. You'll just be knocked out unconscious and you die. With hanging, you will feel the pain for a split second, but then you're dead. Then you're dead, you see. But crucifixion, no. It's going to take time, and you're going to suffer on the cross for a long time. Not to mention the birds that come, not to mention the people who mock you and throw stones at you and throw mud at you and all kinds of filthy things they would throw at the crucified victim. For the Romans who applied it, they had such disgust for the crucifixio, such a disgust, they thought it was so shameful that they refused to apply crucifixio to Roman citizens. If you were a Roman citizen, you would not be crucified. There would be other ways of killing you, more merciful, the sword, the arrow, hanging, the chopping of the head, but not crucifixion. That would be considered to be too shameful for a Roman citizen. That is why Paul was not crucified, whereas Peter was crucified. Paul says, I am a Roman citizen. Well, we didn't know that. The governor of Judea said, I didn't know that. Well, in that case, we can't do anything to you here. We have to send you to Rome to face trial. And found guilty, no crucifixion for Paul. He was killed by the sword. He was martyred by the sword. But Peter, who was not a Roman citizen, he was Jewish and not a Roman citizen, he was crucified. Andrew was crucified. They were all Jewish. They were not Roman citizens. Paul was Jewish, but also a Roman citizen. That is why he was now crucified. So when you look at the crucifixion, it's pain, it's death, it's misery. So why are we glorifying the cross? I mean, Paul says, if I'm going to boast, I will only boast of the cross and nothing else. Why the cross? And Paul goes on to say, it is the power of God. But the cross seems to be death and failure. I mean, the disciples, when they knew that Jesus was crucified, they all ran away. They didn't want, except for John, but all the rest ran away and Peter denied Christ. For them, the cross was a failure. Jesus had failed. For the disciples, Jesus had failed until the resurrection, and then they understood. But until the resurrection, in their minds, Jesus had failed. The crucifixion was a failure for the world. And that is why Paul says to the Greeks, the Gentiles, the cross is folly. It's crazy. It's madness to consider it to be something special. You have a teacher who is crucified. Why do you glorify him? That doesn't make sense. To the Jews, he says, it is a scandal. The cross is a scandal. Why is it a scandal to the Jew? Well, because the Christians claimed that Jesus was the Son of God. If Jesus is the Son of God, he has no business to be crucified. The Son of God cannot be crucified. That is not the way of a Son of God. So for Christ to claim to be the Son of God, or even God himself, the second person of the Trinity, and for him to end up on the cross, that is a scandal. That is blasphemy. Yahweh, the God of Israel, would never be crucified. That's inconceivable. To the Greeks, Paul says, it is folly, it is foolishness. The cross is foolishness. To the Jew, it's a scandal and a blasphemy. But to us, it is the power of God. How can it be the power of God? How can it be the power of God? It seems to be a total failure. Well, what happens on the cross? What happens on the cross? Jesus dies. How can that be a success? Jesus dies, and his blood is shed.